analysis.
Hey there, my name is Vaughn Saunders.
I'm Marcel Miro.
I'm Keelan Anglov.
Sean Carr.
And I'm Brad McCann, and we're going to do a team presentation on organizational analysis. So the agenda for our presentation today, first we're going to go over our organizations, Lockheed Martin and the Inn. Then we're going to make some comparisons of their organizational structure, some strategical goals, the external environment, and then some stakeholders.
To go into a little bit more depth about Lockheed Martin Canada serves the needs of the Canadian military as well as the governments specializing in those sectors. They specifically specialize in naval combat management systems, products and products in service or support, as well as command, control, communications, computer intelligence, as well as surveillance and reconnaissance.
The ex-Golden Inn is the only on-campus bar for students at St. Francis Xavier University, located in Antigonish, Nova Scotia.
Alright, so talking about Lockheed Martin's structure. Lockheed Martin currently has around 150,000 employees. They have a tall vertical organizational structure with high centralization in order to be effective for their decision making due to the importance and impact of each decision. Some of their contracts can be as large as $10 billion, and some of these contracts will last upwards of 40 years. With contracts that have that large of financial and operational impact on the organization for extended periods of time, it is necessary to have teams of executives very high in the hierarchy to make such decisions. Along with the vertical and highly centralized operations, Lockheed Martin also has high formalization. The high formalization is necessary due to the size of the organization and to the sensitivity of some tasks and the consequences of these tasks if not done properly. They have a very high specialization of work functions due to their broad range of products and services they provide. The high specialization of most employees is also very effective across the entire organization due to the very specific tasks each employee would perform throughout the different business lines. Within the business lines, there would be less specialization, but the company as a whole is very specialized due to the variety of services provided. With the major importance of most of these decisions, it is obvious why a military-driven vertical system is in place with high centralization.
The Golden X Inn employs 46 people. This includes 45 part-time students and 1 full-time bar manager. The Inn exercises a vertical hierarchy of authority where the full position manager oversees all operations.
So now I'm going to be talking about the specialization, centralization, and formalization of the Inn. The Golden X Inn has a medium level of specialization. We feel that it is the medium level because while each staff member has a specific job, they are flexible enough to fill in for different positions. For example, 8 servers are able to double as bartenders at the shooter bar when the main bar is too full. For centralization, we believe that the Inn has a low degree of centralization. While the manager is the only full-time staff there is still a great deal of collaboration in major decisions. The manager has mentioned that he will stand behind the decision of his employees at the time of the incident. However, if he feels that they did not make the most appropriate decision, he will confront them at the end of the shift to explain how they could have done it better. For formalization, we believe that the Inn has a high degree of formalization. Each employee is put through a 3-day training program where they learn how to handle a job-specific situation. Bartenders must have their smart serve and abide by the Nova Scotia Liquor Act. They are responsible for weighing all of the alcohol at the end of the night, and in addition to these extremely formal rules, there are other less formal expectations that are implemented as seen fit by the manager.
Alright, so next I'm going to talk about some of the strategic goals of the Golden X Inn. So one of the main strategic goals is to continue to acquire new customers from the pub, their main competitor. They also want to continue to satisfy their loyal customers and kind of protect against them going towards different bars, such as the pub. Also in the future, the manager hopes to look into serving lunches, as this would provide kind of a way to take away from the sub and other places where they get food sales. This would help to grow profits as well as expand the reach. Next would be the strategic goals of Lockheed Martin. Their strategic goals focus more around the delivering in their international markets, evolving their culture, and also just to strengthen their foundation. An example of just their international growth, would be that they have a global research team to establish that. Another would be them strengthening their foundation by their consistent tinkering with their business continuity theory. More specifically, would be just to show if a project or a building isn't working properly or has been recommissioned, they focus on making sure they can bring it back or re-engineer that project so that it can be used in the future in a different way.
Moving on to the Porter's competitive strategies. Lockheed Martin follows a focused differentiation competitive strategy. Lockheed abides by a focused strategy due to the small market which they are marketing their extremely high-tech and high-priced products and services. Since the majority of their products are governments, and due to the high cost of their products and services, their customers are not necessarily price-sensitive, and due to this, Lockheed tends to focus on creating unique products and differentiating themselves from the competitors rather than creating low prices. In regards to the Miles and Snow typology, Lockheed Martin identifies with the prospector strategy, which is a firm that follows an innovative path while seeking out new market and opportunities. This is necessary for Lockheed Martin due to the high technological nature of all their products and services, and with such high technology requires constant innovation, otherwise they would risk falling behind in a constantly developing industry. An example of possible Lockheed innovation would be their initiatives in developing missile defense systems in hopes of marketing these unique systems to interested governments.
The Golden X-In uses Porter's competitive strategy of differentiation while they attempt to distinguish their services from the ones offered by their competitors. With many different interests in the student body, being the only bar on campus poses a challenge to accommodate these many different needs, giving the Inn a broad target market.
For the Miles and Snow strategy typology of the Inn, we feel that the Inn is an analyzer because they aim to maintain current customers with their traditionally popular nights while at the same time coming up with creative ideas to attract new segments of the market. The Inn is able to experiment much more than the competitors due to the security blanket provided by the user.
All right, and that concludes our analysis of the two businesses here in Canada, and we're going to hand it over to our partners in Amsterdam.
Nice.
Thanks. Okay, so wait a second. I have to share the screen. Okay, so now you can see our presentation?
Yep.
Okay, nice. Okay, so this is our presentation for our marketing analysis. So we did an analysis of two companies of ours and two companies of yours, and we examined the different strategies of these four firms, and at the end we're going to compare them with each other. Using Michael Porter's strategies and using the Miles and Snow strategies, we tried to look for similarities between your firms and ours. So what it's all about, first we'll tell you something about the firms, and afterwards we eventually compare them and explain why we think those firms have the same strategy, or why we think they do not look like each other when it comes to Porter's and Miles and Snow's strategy.
I'm going to talk about PricewaterhouseCoopers. PricewaterhouseCoopers is a company which delivers a wide selection of services. These services are assurance, audit, tax, and advisory. The mission of PwC is to create an exclusive culture, a culture which all employees are involved and feel competent by optimum and use and develop of different qualities. In the Netherlands, there are over 402,000 employees who works in 12 offices worldwide. PwC has around
190,500 employees
in 175 different nations. PwC thinks that diversity is an essential for high quality standards. In this way, they can offer their customers the best and innovative solution. PricewaterhouseCoopers use the differentiation strategy of Porter's. This means that the PwC is searching for a unique position in this branch. PwC achieves this to give customers a special service that no one of the other companies does. PwC develops such in the field service in the field of durability and mobility. Also, employees of PwC are much involved in social projects, so they can be a catalyst for changes. According to the model of Miles and Snow, PwC is an analyzer. This because it stands between a defender and a prospector. PwC is a perfect example of analyzer due to the many ways PwC behaves. One of the behaviors is to expand in a stable environment and to innovate in new markets. However, they don't take too much risk. That's why that's the perfect balance.
Okay, I'm going to talk about Gulf. Gulf Oil is an oil trade organization which serves multiple branches dealing with all kinds of oils and lubrications. They also have depots along the shore in the Netherlands in which they store their oil and fuel. Gulf uses cost leadership strategy to compete with other oil companies. Gulf sells a homogeneous product, which basically means that the products such as petrol and diesel are exactly the same as the gasoline sold by Total or Shell. Because of the homogeneous products, Gulf can only compete with others by offering lower prices. This means, for instance, that Gulf has to minimize transport costs. According to the miles and snow strategy, Gulf is an absolute defender. There is not much to innovate in the oil market, except for ways to extract oil or to distribute it. The oil market is shrinking because there's an increase of alternative energy sources.
PwC and the IN campus bar are totally different because the IN is a non-for-profit organization and the PwC is a profit organization. Also, they don't have the same organization chart because PwC has a horizontal structure and the IN has a vertical structure. But the way they communicate is similar. They make decisions in a collaborative way. You can't compare PwC with the IN due to the size of the two different companies, mainly because PwC is an international company and the IN is a local campus bar. That is why the strategies are different, but in another way the same. PwC handles a different strategy to be different, and the IN either way, because they're unique in the area. So PwC and the Golden IN are both analyzers.
So Lockheed Martin uses a differentiation strategy. Lockheed Martin does not focus a lot on low-cost strategy, but more on innovation. This is appropriate because the target customer segment is not price sensitive, and the market is competitive, and customers have very specific needs. For instance, they make fighter jets and military weapon systems. Gulf uses low-cost strategy. Low-cost strategy involves organization aiming to be the lowest cost producer or distributor within their industry. The organization aims to drive costs down for all production elements, from the sourcing of materials to labor costs. To achieve cost leadership, a business will usually need large-scale production so that they can benefit from that. Large-scale production means that the business will need to appeal to a broad part of the market. Gulf Oil is an absolute defender when it comes to miles and snow strategy. Because of the increasing demand of alternative energy sources and, for instance, electric cars, the only thing Gulf can do is to defend their products and services from these innovations. So we think that Gulf and Lockheed Martin are very different. Well, that's basically it, guys.
Awesome.
There we go. From Indigo to Amsterdam. That's our presentation.
Yeah.